Commissioners, and we do appreciate your attendance. And for the viewers, thank you for tuning in. For introductions, on my left is Commissioner Deb Shore and Commissioner Larry Hudkins down yonder. And on my right is Vice Chair and Commissioner Todd Wilchin and Commissioner Bill Avery. And I am Commissioner Roma Amundson, Chair of the Board. And assisting us this morning are Dave Durbin of the County Attorney's Office, Kelly Lundgren, and Dan Nolte of the County Clerk's Office. And later on, we will have folks from the County Administrative Office. So, Mr. Clerk, will you begin the agenda, please? Well, excuse me. Will you join me now in saying the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, and thank you for joining in. And now, Mr. Clerk, will you begin the agenda, please?
A copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is located on the wall to the rear of the hearing room. Additionally, a copy of our written material to be discussed at today's open meeting is available from the county clerk staff. The material can also be viewed on the county's website at lancaster.ne.gov. Agenda item 1 are minutes. Approval of the minutes of the Board of Commissioners meeting held on Tuesday, April 19th, 2016.
Move approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded that we approve the minutes of the Board of Commissioners meeting of last week. Are there any corrections? Please call the roll.
Avery,
Yes.
Hudkins,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Number 2 are claims. Approval of all claims processed through April 26, 2016.
Move approval. Second.
It's moved and seconded that we approve all claims processed through April 26th. Are there any corrections or additions? Please call the roll.
Hudkins,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Number 3 is new business. 3 is a resolution in the matter of an application for a Class K liquor license for Hillcrest Country Club located at 9401 O Street, Lincoln, Lancaster County, Nebraska.
Move approval. Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve this resolution for a catering license for Hillcrest Country Club. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Hudkins.
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. B is an agreement with Colonel Time Warner Cable Media for the purpose of authorizing Colonel to film a commercial on Lancaster County property located at South 14th Street and Rokeby Road within Wilderness Park on Saturday, May 7, 2016, from 7 a.m. until 5 p.m.
We have Diana McPike who's made the request, if you'd like to.
Okay,
refer her.
sure.
Sure.
We'd like to hear about this.
Wonderful.
Sounds exciting.
We hope it will be. My name is Diana McPike. I am a production account manager with Colonel Time Warner Cable. I am also the acting producer on this production. It is in partnership. Our client is Dr. Donald Rice from the Urgent Care Clinic of Lincoln. We have worked with Dr. Rice for many years, before even my time at Colonel Time Warner Cable, and so he recently contacted us regarding this production. And so part of the production, the main part of the production, requires an outdoor location, and so that's why we had contacted the county then to hopefully secure that location.
Okay. Any questions? Yeah. Deb.
A couple questions. I've been noticing in the advertisement the use of the word Colonel in conjunction with Time Warner
Yes.
Cable. Can you explain that relationship?
Absolutely. Time Warner Cable obviously is the parent company, and our division of Time Warner Cable is the production division. It's simply like a subname, Colonel. So that's what we've named ourselves to kind of differentiate us from the media sales side, the internet, TV,
Okay.
and more the production side.
Okay. And the idea for this particular shoot, did Dr. Rice come up with this idea?
He did, yes.
Okay.
He
All
did. You know what? We've worked with Dr. Rice for a long time, and he is a very creative individual. He has always been a large part of the creative having to do with any advertising for his business. And so when he approached us with this idea, and we loved it, the idea that no matter who you are, no matter what happens, that he's able to see you, he's able to treat.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay, any further comments? Yes. Carrie?
The board had discussed the fact there's no consideration, the county won't be charging for this, use of the park, but in exchange for that, if you'd like to talk about that,
Correct.
yeah, we had talked about a possible donation, so.
A donation to Wilderness Park?
Yes, yes, I had spoke with Carrie, and while there's no fee to secure the location, we are working with the Parks and Rec Department, and we are prepared to have a fee donated to the Parks and Rec Department for that location.
To the Parks and Rec Foundation, I would assume.
Correct.
Yes. Okay.
Correct.
That's great. Thank you.
Okay, any further comments? Okay, please call the roll. We have a motion and a second, right?
We don't have a motion
okay.
yet.
I would make a motion that we approve the agreement.
Second?
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve this agreement. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Hudkins,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes,
Motion carries 5-0.
and this sounds so exciting, and we all get cameo roles, right?
Yes. You know, it requires 5 hours of makeup, so
Oh,
you're welcome to join.
I don't think so.
Thank you very much.
3C is setting the annual salary for Candace Meredith, Chief Deputy Lancaster County Treasurer, in an amount of $83,850.31, effective April 28th, 2016.
Come on up.
Thank you so much, County Commissioners. Thanks for all you do. I selected, as you know, a few months ago, Candace Meredith to fill the shoes of Bill Jarrett, who's retiring. Candace is a longtime employee of the Lancaster County Treasurer's Office. She runs pretty much everything. She's my personnel director. She's running the budget. She works very closely with Doug Sear. She knows the statutes. What I'm saying is, I didn't pick somebody off the street. She's very well knowledgeable. She runs the office in my absence. A couple quick phone calls. Douglas County Treasurer makes $118,000. His chief deputy is $100,600. Sarpy County, much smaller than ours, he earns $95,400. The chief deputy is $91,600. So, with this in mind, I'd ask that you please approve Candace Meredith's salary at $83,850.
Move approval.
Second?
It's moved and seconded that we approve the annual salary for Candace Meredith to be $83,850.31. Is there any discussion?
Just one question. This salary you're recommending does not indicate in any way that she has lesser qualifications than those that you just mentioned in other counties, correct?
Correct. She's probably more qualified than those.
You're just being frugal.
Yes.
With her permission, I hope.
I could see if I pick somebody off the street, maybe going, a little bit lower and let them earn their wages. But this is a home run hit. I can assure you, it really is.
And Candace has been a county employee for how long?
Well, she was at the administration at the jail prior to us, about 12 years with the Treasurer's Office, and has worked her way up the ladder. Has a bachelor's degree, is very well known and respected throughout the county treasurer's offices. We're doing so much, holding conferences. We wrote the policy book and sent it to all the other county treasurers, along with our internal control manual. So much of that is under her leadership. So it's a really good fit. And actually, I feel like 83 is too low, but it's a start.
Okay, well, it's been moved and seconded that we do approve the salary, as I mentioned, and so any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Hudkins,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes,
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
and Candace, you're just
Doing a great job.
You're doing a great job. Thank you.
3D is a special designated license application from McFarland Family Farms LLC for the Cattlemen's Ball of Nebraska on June 4th, 2016, to be held at 26969 Homestead Expressway, Princeton, Nebraska.
And we do have a letter in front of us from the general manager and owner of Max Creek, and it's because of the impending weather. They felt that it was best not to be on the roads between Lexington and Lincoln. And this letter describes how long they've been in operation, how much producing they do, the designated license. They're asking to participate in a cattleman's ball, and they will be participating in the wine tasting event. The staff will be checking IDs before serving or selling wine to guests. All staff who will be pouring have been trained and certified in alcohol serving at the national level, as well as receiving the state certification and certification for the city of Lincoln, Nebraska. Yes.
I'll just make mention that, you know, being from Kearney, I am familiar with this winery and the reputation, and it's impeccable.
Right.
So I would definitely support the application. Matter of fact, I will move that we approve it.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that we approve this SDL from the McFarland Family Farms for the Cattleman's Ball. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Hudkins,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. E is a special designated license application from Dave's Drive-In doing business as Dave's Wine and Liquor for a reception on May 14th, 2016 at Avalon Event Center at 12788 West Roker Road, Crete, Nebraska.
Okay. Tom, would you want to come up and just speak very briefly on the status of the zoning and so forth? Because I believe that they had come up in September, and their zoning had not been approved.
Correct. Tom Chaka, planning staff. Planning department did receive a special permit application for expanded home occupation for Avalon. It did have a public hearing at Planning Commission on November 18th, 2015. Planning Commission did not vote, did not make a recommendation. They put it on hold for additional information. Subsequently, the applicant had asked for deferrals. It's been on hold ever since November 18th. It is now scheduled to go back to Planning Commission on May 11th. So they do not have their special permit to hold large events such as what this SDL is applying for.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
this is a wedding reception, or do you know?
Says reception.
It is a wedding reception, so if they are, May 11th is one important deadline, and May 14 is another. And May 14 is the event, so
Correct.
invitations have probably gone out. I mean, we don't have any way of knowing that, but this is time sensitive. What's your expectation on the May 11 approval?
For this application, Planning Commission is only a recommending body. It'll have to go to the county board for final approval.
Is the approval for this event or for all events?
The special permit application is for expanded home occupation, which would allow them, if approved, to hold events such as this.
They were operating previously without knowledge of this requirement?
They've known about this requirement since last
September.
October.
September. Actually, our daughter's wedding was on October the 3rd, and so it was actually in September when this was first brought to our attention.
Wanting place
Yeah.
on Highway 30.
So it was in September they've known
Those
this.
lakes on the north side.
Thank you. Dave, would you want to talk to us a little bit about the home occupation license?
Is there anyone here from Avalon?
No. Is there, well, I don't believe so. Is anyone here from Avalon? I don't believe so. Okay.
There's two, Dave Durbin, Deputy County Attorney, Lancaster County Attorney's Office. There's two exceptions to zoning. One is just for home occupation, which is of right. And this really wouldn't fall within there because it's supposed to be inside, and only one employee would help. What they're applying for is a special permit for expanded home occupation. Expanded home occupation allows you to have up to 2 employees, a larger footprint, and for outside use. They've asked for several waivers of conditions. And as Tom said, they're going to require both a recommendation from Planning Commission and approval by the board. So even if on the 11th there's some sort of recommendation, it would still have to come before the board, and the earliest would be, a week after that. Are there any specific questions about
Okay.
the home occupation?
Well, I think that you had mentioned at one point in time that this was like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole.
That's correct. There's really not a specific special permit for this type of use, and planning did their best. They looked at several different options, and there are some similar uses in the county. One would be clubs, and one is, Tom, could you help me out with the other one? It's not reception halls, it's recreation facilities. And recreation facilities ends up encompassing, say, golf clubs and the like. So maybe those are kind of similar uses, but those are really for sporting events. And so they didn't, just based on the language of the special permit, planning probably correctly decided that this would not fall within that. So the only thing available really was the expanded home occupation. But as I said, the expanded home occupation has a bunch of different limitations, such as employees and square footage. It's really meant to be a home business. Say if I had a small farm and I were canning, fruit or something, and I wanted to have a little stand. I think we've also had some sort of refuse facility where they just have 2 drivers, and that would fall within the 2 employee exception, and they really don't have a large footprint. Whereas this has hundreds of people coming, and independent contractors and their employees, and we've had numerous objections from the surrounding residents.
Todd?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll follow up.
Well, no, I mean, I was going to make a point that what we're talking about today is the SDL, not the planning issue, which
Yes.
is
That's
something that, I was pointing that out.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just a recommendation to Liquor Commission. They can do whatever they choose, correct?
The way this is a little different than, say, the license that we just had a resolution for. That's a strict recommendation. For SDLs, the way it's worded is that there's an approval by the local governing body, which would be the board, and then there's a separate approval by the Liquor Commission. The Liquor Commission cannot approve if we deny. They potentially could deny even if we approve.
Larry?
In light of the discussion and the fact that this has been ongoing since November, I would move we deny the special designated license for the May 14th event at Avalon Event Center.
Second.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded that we deny the SDL application for the reception at Avalon Center. Any discussion? Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm going to vote against it because I believe that we should approve the SDL for 2 reasons. One, the owners are complying and acting in good faith. They have a pending application before the planning, which is something that we directed them to do. And second, and as I said last week, the other option is we deny this SDL, then we will not have responsible parties being responsible for, the distribution of alcohol at events such as this, and they can have a host bar, and then that creates a whole new, issues. And for me, like I said, we did instruct them to make application, which they've done, and so I will be voting against it.
Well, the one thing that I really would, and I will be voting for the denial, and that's simply because I do, I'm heeding the recommendation of the county attorney's advice, is the fact that we are actually, in a sense, it is somewhat a risky sort of thing. Yes, Dave?
I'd like to distinguish this from the situation that we had last week. Last week, I advised the board not to approve an SDL for Hillside. Hillside had numerous building and safety concerns. I don't think that this falls within the same category. I'm not advising whether to approve or deny in this situation. I'm just answering questions about the home occupation. As far as I know, they have no safety concerns at this location, and I don't believe there would be any risk to the board by approving this.
Bill?
I don't have any questions for David. I just wanted to make, I'm going to vote no as well. For this reason, this involves a wedding reception, and if they had to
Just says reception. I've looked through the entire application. I just want to make that clear. There's no use of the word wedding whatsoever.
Well, I asked that question earlier, and I got a yes. It was a wedding.
Reception.
It is a wedding?
It's just reception.
Oh. All right, well, that really doesn't change my vote. But I do think that we have to recognize that though they are slow in complying with the zoning law, they are doing so. And I think that we have made exceptions in the special designated license previously, and I don't see any reason why we wouldn't approve this one.
Okay, any further discussion? Yes,
I
Jeff?
guess in my mind, I'm trying to be consistent. When we talked about Blue Stem Winery, that's a winery application, so they have the ability to host events there as part of their license. And then we were at Hillside last week, which has a lot of zoning or building and safety violations. And then this one, I received several concerns from neighbors about the activities going on there. And so they, as well, even though they're in compliance with the building and safety code, they don't have the right zoning. So I'm looking at 3 separate situations and trying to be consistent. And I guess I'm going to defer to Todd's comment about a responsible party with oversight of the distribution and consumption of alcohol.
Okay, we have a motion that has been moved and seconded that we deny the special license designation from Dave's Drive-In at Avalon. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Hudkins,
Yes.
Avery,
No.
Wilchin,
No.
Shore,
No.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion fails, 2 yes, 3 noes.
I would make a motion that we approve the SDL.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the SDL. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Hudkins,
No.
Amundson.
No.
Motion carries 3 yes, 2 no. Next is 3F. This is a licensure renewal application with the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services for operation of the Lancaster County Mental Health Crisis Center at 825 J Street. The county will pay $250 for the renewal license.
Move approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the licensure renewal application for the Lancaster County Mental Health Center. Any discussion?
I'm sorry, I was a bit late getting up. Gwen Thorpe, Deputy Chief Administrative Officer. This is for the new location. We just renewed and for the current location, but these are site specific. So this moves it and changes the number of beds to 16.
Okay. Okay, with that explanation, any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Avery,
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Hudkins,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. G is a recommendation from the purchasing department and the county engineer to award a contract to R.L. Tiemann, Lyman Ritchie Corporation, and Westover Rock and Sand for the supply and hauling of gravel surface course material. Total amount is $500,330.
Pam?
Pam Dingman, Lancaster County Engineer. All right, I'm here today to talk to you guys about rock, right? This is kind of an under the new wave that maybe isn't so new because it's the 3rd time I've brought this bid to you in this format where we give multiple companies the opportunity. In other words, all the trucking companies have an opportunity to go pick up their rock once we've acquired the rock. And so this is the hauling to the designated piles. We feel that this gives smaller local companies a better opportunity to bid hauling to the pile that is closest to them in their operation.
Okay. Questions?
I will move approval of the recommendation.
Second.
It's moved and seconded that we approve the recommendation. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Hudkins,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. H is utility permit number 1408, allowing Windstream Communications to install new fiber optic cable in the area of South 148th Street, Old Cheney Road to Saltillo Road, and State Highway 43. There is no cost to the county.
Hi, Jim Stockhouse, County Engineering. This is a permit for new fiber optic cable south on 148th Street from just south of Old Cheney Road to Highway 2, underneath Highway 2, require permitting from the state of Nebraska to Saltillo Road to Highway 43, then south into the village of Bennett.
Okay. What's really nice is there is no cost to the county.
There is no cost to the county, correct?
Move approval?
Second.
Moved and seconded that we approve utility permit 1408. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Avery,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Hudkins,
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. I is utility permit number 1409, allowing Windstream Communications to install new fiber optic cable in the area of Old Cheney Road, 98th Street to 112th Street. There is no cost to the county.
This is another fiber optics cable project. The first half of the portion from approximately 84th Street to 98th is going to require permitting from the city of Lincoln. Our portion is from about 98th Street east to 112th. And once again, there's not any cost to the county.
Move approval.
Second?
It's moved and seconded that we approve utility permit number 1409. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Hudkins,
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. 3J is an agreement with Malcolm School District number 148 for the provision of a school resource officer by the Lancaster County Sheriff's Office. The school agrees to pay the county $15,291 for the first year of the contract, with a 2.5% increase each contract year thereafter. Term of the agreement is August 1st, 2016 to July 31st, 2017, with the optional one-year renewals.
Good morning, Terry Wagner, Lancaster County Sheriff. You'll notice items J, K, L, and M are all contracts with the schools, and you'll remember that you authorized an additional deputy sheriff for a full-time SRO. So Norris and Waverly will have full-time school resource officers beginning in August of 2016. So the deputy will spend their entire working day and week at those schools, and then Malcolm and Raymond Central will split. That's why the difference in the cost amounts. Malcolm and Raymond Central will split an SRO between the two schools. So that's why the differing amounts, and that's sort of how it is planned on working. The formula that we use is very similar to the formula that LPD uses with Lincoln Public Schools, because we get the deputies' use, we get their service for our office when school's not in session, holidays, summer vacation, that kind of thing. So it helps us out in our busy time of the year in the summer, and so the payments are adjusted accordingly.
Okay. Larry?
It's a great program, and appreciate the sheriff working with those school administrators, and I'd move approval.
Second?
Second.
It's moved and seconded that we approve this agreement with Malcolm School District 148. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Hudkins,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. 3K is an agreement with Norris School District number 160 for the provision of a school resource officer by the Lancaster County Sheriff's Office. The school agrees to pay the county $30,582 for the first year of the contract, with a 2.5% increase each contract year thereafter. Term of the agreement is August 1st, 2016 to July 31st, 2017, with optional one-year renewals.
Move approval.
Second?
It's moved and seconded that we approve this agreement with Norris School District 160. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Avery,
Yes.
Hudkins,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. L is an agreement with the Raymond Central Public School District Number 161 for the provision of a school resource officer by the Lancaster County Sheriff's Office. The school agrees to pay the county $15,291 for the first year of the contract, with a 2.5% increase each contract year thereafter. Term of the agreement is August 1st, 2016 to July 31st, 2017, with optional one-year renewals.
Move approval?
Second?
Moved and seconded that we approve this agreement with Raymond Central Public School. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Hudkins,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. M is an agreement with Waverly School District Number 145 for the provision of a school resource officer by the Lancaster County Sheriff's Office. The school agrees to pay the county $30,582 for the first year of the contract, with a 2.5% increase each contract year thereafter. Term of the agreement is August 1st, 2016 to July 31st, 2017, with optional one-year renewals.
Move approval.
Second?
Moved and seconded that we approve this agreement with Waverly Public School District 145. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Hudkins,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. N is adoption of the Lancaster County Records Management Policy.
Okay. Well, good morning. And we had discussed, the Lancaster County Records Policy, Management Policy, last week. Okay. Are there any questions?
Appreciate your efforts in drafting it, considering you
Thank
kind
you.
of started from ground zero. We
Thank
didn't
you.
have an official electronic records management policy, so I will move adoption.
Second.
Moved and seconded that we adopt this records management policy. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Hudkins,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Mhm.
O is appointment of Keith Neal Larson to the Aging Partners Area Advisory Council for a term to expire July 1st, 2018.
Randy was here. I don't know.
Move approval.
Second.
It's moved and seconded that we appoint, that we approve this appointment. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Avery,
Yes.
Hudkins, Hudkins,
I said yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. 3P is reappointment of Dr. Michelle Peterson and Tom Randa to the Lincoln Lancaster County Board of Health for terms to expire April 15th, 2019.
Move approval.
Second.
It's moved and seconded that we approve these two reappointments. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Hudkins,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Q is a political subdivision tort claim filed against Lancaster County Corrections by Cole Adams in the amount of $3.
Based upon the recommendation of the Director of Corrections, I move we deny this tort claim.
Second.
Moved and seconded that we deny this tort claim. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Hudkins,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. R is a political subdivision tort claim filed against Lancaster County Corrections by Elvis Bangera in an undisclosed amount.
Based upon the recommendation of the Director of Corrections, I move we deny this tort claim.
Second.
It's moved and seconded that we deny this tort claim. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Hudkins,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. S is a political subdivision tort claim filed against Lancaster County Corrections by Kier Doc in an undisclosed amount.
Based upon the recommendation of the Director of Corrections, I move we deny this tort claim.
Second.
Moved and seconded that we deny this tort claim. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Hudkins,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. T is a political subdivision tort claim filed against Lancaster County Corrections by Andrew Naderhoff in the amount of $6.02.
Based upon the recommendation of the Director of Corrections, I move we deny this tort claim.
Second.
Moved and seconded that we deny this tort claim. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Hudkins,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. U is a political subdivision tort claim filed against Lancaster County Corrections by Matthew Pavey in the amount of $4.16.
Based upon the recommendation of the Director of Corrections, I move we deny this tort claim.
Second.
It's moved and seconded that we approve, that we deny this tort claim. Please call the roll. Any
Hudkins?
discussion?
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. V is a political subdivision tort claim filed against Lancaster County Corrections by Dalton Ramsey in the amount of $350.
Based upon the Director of Corrections, recommendation, I move we deny this tort claim.
Second.
It's moved and seconded that we deny this tort claim. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Avery,
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Hudkins.
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. W is a political subdivision tort claim filed against Lancaster County Corrections by Johnny Waterman in the amount of $185.
Based upon the recommendation of the Director of Corrections, I move we deny this tort claim.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we deny this tort claim.
I know.
Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Hudkins.
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Yeah.
Next is consent items. Receive and place on file the following report for March 2016. This is for the county sheriff. And setting a public hearing on Tuesday, May 10th, 2016 at 9 a.m. in room 112 of the County City Building, 555 South 10th Street, Lincoln, Nebraska, regarding amendments to the Lancaster County General Assistance Guidelines.
Move approval of the consent items.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the consent items. Please call the roll.
Avery,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Hudkins,
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Number 5 is public comment. Those wishing to speak on items relating to county business not on the agenda may do so at this time.
Oh, yeah.
I think
Wish
that's
to come
Board of
forward?
Equalization.
Oh, okay, okay.
Gary Aldridge, Lincoln, Nebraska. I start with an aside for County Engineer Pam Dingman. The board can listen or not. Item B160011 on the agenda today was action on a contract to purchase certain services and supplies. Dingman et al. Made a recommendation to award. The board agreed. The contract price was $500,300. This purchase was senseless. About time. Dingman knows what I mean. I have strayed some from what is, was, will be my focus and message most times at a meeting of a political subdivision. A message delivered at Southeast Community College, Lower Platte South NRD, RTSD, Lincoln Public Schools, and or this board. The message and focus is taxes, or better yet, the collection and allocation of tax dollars. To frame my message, I put a face on tax dollars, i.e. public money. Public money is, as all money is, just a thing. The source of public money is, after all, a citizen, a property owner. The reference point I use consistently and constantly is an owner of average value residential property in Lancaster County, Nebraska. Some you know and some you will never know. Constituents, relatives by blood or marriage, friends, neighbors, Americans, foreign-born, members of your church, political party, social or fraternal club, the outside man on a garbage truck, citizens all. Political subdivisions in Nebraska collect and distribute property tax dollars. State government neither collects or allocates tax dollars from property. It seems state government now has an obsession with property tax. Allocation and collection are a function of each other. Political subdivisions allocate what is collected because political subdivisions collect what is allocated. Citizens, it now appears, have a great unhappiness with property tax. Citizens are uneasy, but also AWOL. Confused, much like a duck that has been hit upon the head. Citizens have an imperfect understanding of property tax, or rather, the avenue to relief. The burden has shifted. Citizens reallocate responsibility and accountability from political subdivisions to state government. Amnesia is a terrible thing. State government as the cause of high property tax is amnesia. For the property tax question, accountability and responsibility resides in political subdivisions, not elsewhere. In a participatory democracy, this amnesia is unhealthy. At times, democracy ain't beautiful. The message I carry or convey has little traction. Or put another way, I am ignored. My message, no one likes to pay taxes, really likes. Taxes are an essential obligation of citizenship for my own safety's sake. Taxing authorities cannot be all things to all people at all times. There are limits. Citizens expect public money will be well and wisely spent. Well and wisely goes through elected boards, bodies, and commissions. I see silliness in budgets. Most do. The goose has a finite supply of gold eggs. Frustration, more accurately perhaps anger and hatred, opens a door for the Tea Party. The Tea Party is mostly nonsense.
1 minute.
Thank you. In pretty clothes or otherwise. Nonsense. I have great contempt for politicians, especially at election time, who claim they fight for the common or average taxpayer. Less taxes, less government, less regulation. In a perfect world, that could happen. This is not a perfect world. Do I have some time left?
30 seconds.
Just an observation. It's past time for this board to throw in the towel and accept, de facto or de jure, the star, and only the star, determines the where and when of meetings, or, put another way, if it's news in Nebraska, it's news to the Journal-Star.
Okay, thank you, Gary.
Next is number 6, announcements. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold a staff meeting on Tuesday, April 26, 2016 at 7:30 a.m. in the Bill Luxford studio of the County Seat Building. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold a staff meeting on Thursday, April 28, 2016 at 8:30 a.m. in the Bill Luxford studio of the County City Building. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold their next regular meeting on Tuesday, May 3rd, 2016 at 9 a.m. in room 112 of the County City Building, with the Board of Equalization immediately following. County Commissioners can be reached at 402-441-7447 or commish@lancaster.ne.gov. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners meeting is broadcast live. It is rebroadcast on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays on 5 City TV, Cable Channel 5. In addition, the meeting may be viewed on the internet at lancaster.ne.gov under 5 City TV, video on demand, or 5 City TV on YouTube.
Move we adjourn.
Second.
Let's move to a second that we adjourn. Please call the roll.
Hudkins?
Yes.
Wilchin?
Yes.
Shore?
Yes.
Avery?
Yes.
Amundson?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Okay, meeting adjourned. And we'll move on now to the Board of Equalization.
A copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is located on the wall at the rear of the hearing room. Additionally, a copy of all written material to be discussed at today's open meeting is available from the county clerk's staff. The material can also be viewed on the county's website at lancaster.ne.gov. Also in attendance this morning is Scott Gaines from the county assessor's office. Agenda item 1 are minutes. Approval of the minutes of the Board of Equalization meeting held on Tuesday, April 19th, 2016.
I move approval.
Second.
It's moved and seconded that we approve the minutes of last week's meeting. Any corrections? Please call the roll.
Avery?
Yes.
Hudkins?
Yes.
Shore?
Yes.
Wilchin?
Yes.
Amundson?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Number 2 are additions and deductions to the tax assessment rolls.
Move approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the additions and deductions to the tax assessment rolls. Please call, any discussion? Please call the roll.
Hudgens?
Yes.
Shore?
Yes.
Wilchin?
Yes.
Avery?
Yes.
Amundson?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Number 3 is a public hearing for motor vehicle tax exemption applications, and this is for Catholic Social Services, Connecting Point Church of the Nazarene, and the Salvation Army.
Okay, I will now open this public hearing regarding the motor vehicle tax exemption applications. Is there anyone to speak in support of, in opposition to, or in a neutral position to these applications? And seeing none, I will close the public hearing.
Move approval of the applications.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve these applications. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Shore?
Yes.
Wilchin?
Yes.
Avery?
Yes.
Hudgens?
Yes.
Amundson?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Next is number 4, and this is for the appeal of property exemption status. And there 2, this is Ray Siegman in the state of Nebraska and the village of Denton.
Good morning, Scott Gaines, Deputy Assessor, Register Deeds. 2 items before you. Let's go with the Denton one first. That is one where previously the village had a lease. I think it was being farmed. That lease has been terminated. The village will now use that property for their public purpose. So we're recommending removal of the taxable status on this one. If they'd have notified us before March 1st, we would have not notified them we were intending to tax the property. So this one is used for a public purpose and should be exempt. As far as Mr. Siekman, there is a farm lease from the state of Nebraska to Mr. Siekman. It clearly states in the lease that it's not a public purpose use of the property. It's used for ag purposes. The statute requires that it be used for a public purpose in order for the governmental owned property to be exempt. So all we're at today, all we're discussing is whether the property is a taxable status or an exempt status. Clearly, it's not being used for a public purpose. It should be a taxable status. Mr. Siekman may have some issues with the value and some of the impact of the location of the ground to the shooting range and the correctional center and things of that nature. But that's not before us today. It's simply taxable or exempt at this point. If there's valuation issues to be discussed, those would be in June during the normal BOE process.
Larry?
Somewhat familiar with this property, and does Mr. Siekman have control of all the property, or does the state still have areas that are not being farmed?
The only portion of the property that is subject to tax is the part that is leased and the tillable acres that he has leased from the state. The rest of the parcel that is not leased to Mr. Siekman is not subject to tax.
And how is that acreage determined? Is it determined by the Farm Service Agency records of what's actually planted?
Yes, and it's enumerated within the lease as well. And our appraisers went out there to determine what portion of the ground was tillable, and I think it matched up very closely to what we were seeing both in the lease and the FSA.
Is there provisions in the lease to where Mr. Siekman has to pay this, or the state of Nebraska would own the property? They're the ones that would have to pay the taxes, would they not?
I believe the lease terms would indicate clearly that he'll be responsible for the tax, but that's not for us to be involved in, actually.
Really?
I mean, we've got a copy of the lease, and I'm sure it puts a responsibility on the lessee to pay the tax. But that's between the lessor and the lessee, not something that we would be involved with.
Okay. Any questions? Any further questions?
Well, I think we have the leasee.
Yeah,
and
we do
should-
have, I know we
Kinda
have.
got 2 going on at
We
the
have
same
2
time.
people coming, okay, yeah.
Ray Siekman, I got the letter from the state of Nebraska after the county assessor saying enclosed notice for taxable status from the Office of Lancaster County Assessor, Register of Deeds, considering the farm lease as public property lease for non-public purpose. The property is subject to property taxation without the current lease term. As leaseholder, you are responsible for paying any taxes which become due or which are levied as a result of the current use of this property. Please provide proof of payment said taxation against the real estate shown. I'd like to submit this, and then also the letter from the county assessor. As far as, I pay $226.01 cash rent an acre. As far as it being written in the lease, it's not written in the lease as far as paying taxes, but there is a state statute that claims the Department of Corrections and the state of patrol uses the range. I spent time in the military. I've run ranges, and I don't get close to there. I don't have full access to it. Department of Corrections and that come out and cut wood on around the area, saying as far as access to it, that's the state that's decided they use that as a buffer zone in case of stray bullets. So, you know, and the way this got started, they sold off the acreage, and that's why it was transferred from the Department of Corrections to the building division. And the Department of Corrections still has equipment and stuff parked around the area in the field, and they do come on it. So I pay a fair share of rent. I pay enough other taxes, this county and other counties, and I just don't feel by paying as much cash rent as I am that, and it's not full access to it as far as the farm ground being a completely, otherwise you let it do like they do with the pasture, let it grow up in weeds and stuff, because they're not taking care of the place. So, you know, and the neighbors will tell you that too. So I just don't feel that it ought to be taxed at this time. It's only a 2-year lease. The reason they're making it 2-year leases is so that they eventually want to move the range and sell it all. And that's at the time I feel that it should be taxed when it could be. But as far as having full access to it, and yeah, it's farm ground. I get a crop in and I harvest it, but I still got to watch when I'm in there, and they come in at different times too. So I don't feel that it should be taxed because it's actually part of the prison system. And, you know, due to other things that happen, they'd still be farming it, but they don't do that with prisoners anymore. So if there's any questions, I appreciate you consider it. That's the reason I'm against it. Bill?
Is this your first year leasing this land?
No.
You've had it before?
Yes.
And have you ever paid property taxes on it?
No. Never have.
That's a change.
In fact, when I first took the ground over, the state was only getting, I know Larry. So, and Larry asked me, he said, what are you paying for it? That's why I told you I pay comparable rent. The state was getting about $75 an acre was all. And if I was paying that, I'd be more than happy to pay taxes. But, so it's not my first year. That's why I know a little bit of the background.
You never paid taxes on it?
I've never paid taxes on it.
And you've leased it before?
I've leased it for 15 years, 20.
And you have to share this land with prisons? They park vehicles on it, store equipment?
Because it went from corrections to
Well, they
building?
just, I think, people just found
And
out about it.
Todd, you
Need
have,
to hear from Gaines again.
Well, really quick, can I ask a quick question? Because I think it's important before you speak. So, what crops do you raise in this land? And
Corn and beans.
And then what do you do with those crops? Do you sell them? I mean,
Yes.
Okay.
Got to pay my cash rent inputs.
Roma,
Yeah,
put me
Larry?
on the list then, I've had my hand up.
Let me respond to a couple of Bill's statements.
Oh, okay.
First of all, this is, I think it's due to a change in administration. This lease had never been reported to us by the state of Nebraska previously. That's why, if you say what's different than the previous years, the state of Nebraska had never reported this lease to us. And they were very diligent this year in making sure that we had those leases. So that's when it became aware to us that this situation was going on is why we're here today. As far as things being parked on it, again, the only portion of this state-owned ground that is intending to be taxed by our notice is the part that's tillable acres, the part that's actually being tilled. There's other surrounding areas all over it that, again, may be a value issue to be discussed in June that may impact, the value if it didn't have some of these other issues. But we're not subjecting to tax or having Mr. Siekman pay tax on anything other than the tillable part that he is covered by in the lease here.
Larry?
This is the reason I asked Mr. Siekman what he was paying for cash rent. This is dry land, unirrigated ground, and I don't know, maybe he didn't want this number out because it's a competitive thing, but he's paying a very competitive rate, actually a high rate for this. I don't know of any cash rent situation in Lancaster County where a farmer that enters into a cash rent lease like that is required to pay the property taxes. The property taxes follow the ownership of the ground. And clearly for 14 or 15 years, Mr. Siekman has taken that place and taken care of it. Now, he does even have some other limitations. As he said, the state can come across there at any time. He has to work with that, with the firing range. The state has property stored out there on the site yet. This is a change in the way that things have been administered. I do not think this is fair to ask Mr. Siekman to pay these property taxes.
Larry, one reason that, like he said, the state reported it is before it was through the Department of Corrections, the lease was. They transferred it because they're going to sell the ground and sell that stuff. That's why the building division has it now. So, but I feel it's equitable. It's by the state statutes because I looked into it with a lawyer. That's required by the state statutes. If they do it, but I feel it's equitable. And like Larry said, it's more than equitable. I've always been equitable with them when paying the cash rents for what they got. And like I say, I just don't feel it's proper for this ground with the restrictions and stuff on it to be assessed.
Bill, Todd, and Larry. Yeah.
Do you sign an annual lease?
No, it's a 2-year lease, like I said.
A 2-year lease?
Used to be a 5-year.
Did any of the terms of that document that you signed change in the last 2 years?
Yes, the last couple of years it has.
And
I used to have the whole thing.
But did it change did the document you signed say anything at all about paying property taxes?
No.
I've got a copy of the lease here, Bill, and it clearly states that the lessee is responsible for the tax. It also says in the lease, this property is not being used or developed for use for a public purpose. And that's really the only issue before us today.
Is that the lease he has been signing for the last several years?
I just have the current lease that was signed in December.
Last lease.
Todd?
Okay, so this may be either a question for Mr. Gaines or Mr. Durbin, but the way I read this, and I understand it, is that this is Mr. Siekman and the state of Nebraska. It's the determination whether or not they're responsible for paying the property tax. It's up to the two parties to make a determination who pays it. And I mean, granted you have a lease, but that's not really, I think, what's before us.
Basically, that's correct. Our role today is to determine, is this use a public purpose of the ground or not that would allow an exemption because of the state-owned property.
That's what I put before you, because it is and it isn't public use. The range is there. That's a buffer zone. As far as paying the taxes, it's in the state statutes, because I went to a lawyer to check it out.
And again, the range in those areas those are considered public purpose and are not subject to this notice of taxable status. Just the tillable acres that are covered by the lease, the farm lease.
Which
it's between the parties, as Todd said, and again, you look at, there's a diagram, there's parts that are clearly excluded from the taxable status here. And those are the parts that we're discussing. As Scott mentioned, there's a separate procedure for challenging valuation.
And you've been very patient up here, so.
Good morning. I'm from the Village of Denton, board chair. If there's any questions on our property.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's being used for a public purpose.
Yeah.
Your
That's
plans
correct.
for it are?
Grow grass,
Grow grass.
public use.
We don't have
Have a
any
park.
quarrel with you.
Yeah.
Pretty simple, cut and dried.
Okay, I didn't know for sure what the, all right,
Can
thank
we
you.
go ahead and make a motion
Sure.
to accept the recommendation of the county assessor with regards to the Village of Denton property?
Second.
It's moved and seconded that we accept the, that we grant the appeal of property exemption status to the Village of Denton. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Hudgens,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes,
Motion carries
For being
5 to
here.
0.
okay.
Thank you.
Learned a lot about county government in an hour, right?
Thank you for
Okay.
your patience.
And now, dealing with Ray Seekman in the state of Nebraska. Larry?
Mr. Seekman, have you gone, is it the Department of Administrative Services that now handles this?
Yes.
Have you gone to them to explain the situation and asked them, since they're receiving the income off of this, if they
No,
would
they-
pay these taxes in lieu of?
They won't do it because it's stated in the state statutes that that's what it is.
State statute, state statute.
Very
I-
But I've never
unfortunate.
paid them in the past, and this is the first time, and like I said, it's only a 2-year lease, and it's used as a buffer zone. So otherwise it'd be sold for housing out there. It's out by Yankee Hill Brick.
I hope, I'm sure we will be seeing you during the Board of Equalization process, and I will make a motion that we follow the recommendation of the county assessor and deny the appeal.
Second.
It's moved and seconded that we deny the request regarding the Ray Seekman in the state of Nebraska issue. Any discussion? Yeah.
I'm going to have to support this motion too because of the provisions in the lease.
The lease.
I think it's very unfortunate because you're paying top dollar for that ground. But I know in cases where other governmental subdivisions rent out ground like this, if they're receiving income off of it, the owner of the ground pays the taxes. And I would hope that something could be worked out in that regard, but we're limited by the law on what we can do.
Todd?
And I would strongly encourage you to reach out to the state and have that conversation with them, because I think, yeah, there's issues based on what you've said over the last 15 years that maybe the state's not aware of the implications for property taxes.
Well, what happened is the Department of Corrections handled it, and then when it got switched to the building division, that's a different, they don't really care. So, that's my problem.
I would bring it to the director's
Public Building
attention.
Commission?
That would be my recommendation.
no,
Nothing
okay.
to do with that. Yeah.
Okay, Bill?
I'm going to probably be the only no in approving this motion. The reason is, I think Mr. Siegman had every reason to expect that he was not going to have to pay property taxes on this because it never had been required in the past. I would recommend, however, that you read those leases a little more carefully.
Yeah, the last lease, it's my fault partially, but it's,
Not
so it's
right.
been through the years, Larry knows. But I appreciate your time and everything.
You bet.
Thank you.
Okay, we have the motion on the floor to deny the request of Ray Siegman and the state of Nebraska issue regarding the property exemption application. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Hudgens,
Yes.
Avery,
No.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 4 yes, 1 no. Next is number 5, public comment. Those wishing to speak on items relating to County Board of Equalization business not on the agenda may do so at this time.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
It's moved and seconded that we adjourn.
Or move and ejected.
Moved and ejected. It's been moved and seconded that we adjourn. Please call the roll.
Moved and rejected.
Wilchin,
It's been a long morning.
Shore,
Yes.
Hudkins,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Hamilton. Motion carries 5-0.